All right, so tonight we are going to start getting to know our graphing calculators. If you don't have one, you need to get one. It's something we're going to use throughout the year. You're going to use it all 4 years in high school. I understand that it is a big purchase, but it's something that you will use forever. You can use it in college also. So I only have so many as a class set, and you're going to need to use it at home. So it's definitely something that you want to invest in. You'll be at a bit of a disadvantage if you don't have one of these to use at home. So I'm going to show you a couple of features that we're going to use tomorrow. So you might want to take some notes as to how to use this calculator when we're working on this tomorrow in class. Okay, so here I have a table. I'll look at this table first. Here's my x's. Remember, f of x means y. So we're going to look at what kind of function this table will make for us. So the first thing we need to do is we need to put these coordinates into our calculator. So to do that, we have to hit the stat, and then we go edit, which it's already highlighted, so we hit enter. So you might want to take some notes to write stat and enter. Line 1 is your x, and line 2 is your y. So they always go in the correct order that you've done them. So when we put these in, I'm going to put this whole row in here. It's really important to use this as your negative for -5. Some of you like to use the minus sign for 5, but in this calculator it doesn't understand that minus is the same thing as negative, and you'll get a error. Hit go to, it'll show you where that arrow is. You can't have that negative there. It has to be negative here, and I'll put in my 4. And then we go -3 and -2 and -1. Okay, to get to line 2, which is our y's, we just right arrow, and we have -10 there, and it's just going down. -9, -8, -7. If you have your own calculator, you might want to be doing this with me, because you definitely can remember better when you're doing it along the same way. So you might want to pause the video and get your calculator out. So I always take a minute to make sure that I put in these coordinates in correctly, because if this is off, then the entire thing is off and you'll come up with an error or an incorrect answer. So now that I have my x and y's in, I want it to graph it. So before I graph, I want to hit my window, and my minimum x is -10 and my maximum x is 10. Well, looking at my x values, those will definitely fit in there. I don't have any positives, so I can actually change my maximum to 0. So I can make it between 0 and -10. And my y's, I have -10, and I actually changed this earlier. But again, I can have that to 0, because all these are negative numbers. They'll fit into that. And in fact, I might want to move this from -10 to maybe 12, because if I keep the maximum number in there, that point will be right on a line, and it's real hard to see. So I like to keep it that way. This means scale, which means it's going by ones each direction. All right, so that was the first thing. So first thing, we hit stat and enter and put in our points. Then we went to our window. We made sure our x's fit within the x window and our y's fit within the y window. Then in order for it to graph these points, we have to go second y equals, which is called the stat plot. Yours should say off right here. So we want to turn it on. So you want to hit enter, and then yours should look like this right now. So we want a left arrow and hit enter so that it's on. We want to go ahead and keep it as points. It says our x list is line 1, and that's where we put it. We put our y values in line 2, and this is the mark it's going to use. And then we can go ahead and hit graph. And then there's our points right here. I can hit the trace button. It'll show me what that coordinate is. This one is my -5, 10. I can right arrow, and it shows me my -4, -9, a -3, -8. And so this is a good way just to determine if it's linear. If you want to see where it falls on a true x and y coordinate, we should go to zoom and go down to standard. And then you can see what it looks like on an x, y, kind of zoomed out type thing. So this is clearly a linear function. So now I want to know is what is the equation of that function? And my calculator will tell me. So I just have to go back to stat. We're going to use that stat a lot, but instead of edit, we want to be on calc. So we right arrow to calc. Make sure you're taking notes. Then we want to do what's called number 4, which is linear regression, which is our linear equation. So it says linear regression, ax plus b. That's true. I hit enter, and it gives me a, which I don't know why they use a on this calculator, but it's in the place of the m or the slope. So it's telling us the slope is 1 and the b, the y-intercept, is -5. So now I know the equation of that these points right here. So I have to come up with the equation. I can put y equals negative, or I think it was positive 1x plus or minus 5. And so now I have the linear equation for that here. And we can also do the same thing with this this other set of points here. So let's go back and put these points in. So we're going to go back to stat and enter. And to clear these out, we do exactly that. We go up arrow to the L2 and we hit clear, enter. And then I'm a left arrow, right arrow to the top and hit clear, enter. You do not want to hit the delete. So if you go up to the top and if you hit delete, it actually takes that whole thing away and you lose that line. And then you have to reset your memory. So don't hit the delete. All right, so here I want to put in my x's. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, and -1. Enter. So go through and check 0, 1, 2, 3, -1. Right arrow for the y's. We have 1, 4, 9, and 16. Okay. Now I go back and check, and I see that -1 doesn't have a y. Yeah, every x has to be a y to be a function or a relation. So make sure that you go through and check that and make sure you have all your points in or the whole thing's wrong. All right, so I want to go back to my window now and see it has -10, 10, which my x's fit within there. So I want to go down to my y's. I have -10, 10. The problem is I have 16, and that is above 10. So I need to change that. So I could make that 18 if I want to make sure that these numbers fit between -10 and now 18. Then we want to hit graph, and hopefully you can see that this is making a parabola, which is a quadratic equation. So again, we can get the equation for this. All I have to do is go back to my stat again, go over to calc, and then that's a quadratic equation. So I go down to quadratic regression and I hit enter, and again it tells me what my equation would look like. So I'd put this 1.57 in for A, I'd put this in for B, and this in for C, and then I have the equation of the quadratic regression. We're going to get to that a little bit later. We're going to stick with linears tomorrow. So make sure you know that when you come into class tomorrow, you should have a few notes written down. You should know which buttons to hit on the calculator. If you don't have a calculator, I'll give you a class calculator tomorrow, but please make an effort to get one. And you need to learn how to put in this chart. You need to know how to graph it and come up with this equation. And we'll work on that tomorrow. Have a great night.